Nothing changes instantaneously. In a gradually heating bathtub, you'd be boiled to death before you knew it. Our Father, who art in heaven. Seriously? What the actual fuck?
Gilead doesn't care about children. Gilead cares about power.
Why does healing have to be the only goal? Why can't we be as furious as we feel?
For whatever man sows, so shall he reap.
Welcome to Above the Garage.
Hi friends, we are anxious to dive into our new episode analysis, but we realize we should probably quickly reintroduce ourselves for any new listeners who are tuning in for these new episodes from Season 5. And thank you to all of our amazing off-season listeners. We appreciate you all so much. Anyway, we are a group of women from all across the world who spent a lot of time during the pandemic talking about The Handmaid's Tale and decided to turn that hobby into a podcast. We've had a blast recording over 80 episodes discussing seasons 1 through 4 in great depth, had some really fun interviews, and are psyched for our first new season. My name is Kate, I'm the host, and I'll be joined by Kimberly, our token Aussie and social media manager for all of our new episodes. Beyond that, the group of panelists changes every episode, so look out for some unique accents. On these first 2 episodes, which we recorded together, we have 2 Americans, 1 Australian, an Austrian, and a Finn, if that's what you call Finnish people. Anyway, let's do our round of introductions and dive in.
Hi, I'm Claudia.
Hi, I'm Kimberly.
Hi, I'm Sarah.
Hi, I'm Violet.
And I'm Kate. So, Season 5, Episode 1 of The Handmaid's Tale. It is called Morning, and it was written by Bruce Miller and directed by Elizabeth Moss. Season 5 opens right where Season 4 left off, as they're wont to do in this show. I like that. The morning after June and the other women from the Handmaid support group tore June's rapist apart with their bare hands and teeth. And June comes home. The last scene that we saw was a bloody June saying goodbye to Nicole in the nursery with a distraught and seemingly disgusted Luke sitting on the floor with his head in his hands. So this episode opens with the sound of shower water. And I feel like we're all immediately relieved that she's finally cleaning Fred's blood off of her before going about whatever she's going to do next. But then the camera turns on and nope. She's just running the shower water. I think she dips her hand into the bath, but mostly she's just reliving last night's murder to the Everly Brothers' All I Have to Do Is Dream, which really could not be more perfect. I was thinking when I saw it last year, hopefully now when she's overcome by memories of her rapes and abuse in Gilead, she can wallpaper over these memories with last night. And it's certainly working now. The song lyrics kind of say that too. I can make you mine, taste your lips of wine anytime, night or day. And that is why whenever I want you, all I have to do is dream. We hear Luke banging on the door, and she has one last memory of Fred hanging before she turns the shower off and reaches for a towel. And as she bloodies the towel, she looks at it for a long beat. It appears to be a washcloth of Holly's, but she still looks pretty happy with herself as she drops it into the bath, opens the door, and barrels right by Luke, asking her what happened. She goes back to Nicole's room and kisses her again, and then hightails it outside as Luke and Moira are chasing her down the stairs, asking her why she's covered in blood. And June's still just completely ignoring them until Luke grabs her arm outside and spins her around. She seems to snap out of it a little when she looks at Moira, even gets excited all of a sudden to tell her, I did it, I killed him, and pulls her close, like forehead to forehead. And I love the way she says, by her hand, by her fucking hand, which, by the way, I think they were going to write above the body initially, but they changed it to Nolite te bastardes carborundurum, which is, of course, Latin for don't let the bastards grind you down. And Moira asks what, which is totally fair. So June makes it as clear as she possibly can. I killed Fred. And Moira finally gets it. Oh my God, you salvaged him? And then when June realizes they're not sharing in her thrill of the kill, she jumps in the car and speeds away as they try to stop her. What'd you guys think of those scenes?
I really love the start of the show when she's like really happily smiling, but then it turns into a more and more creepy smile that was a little bit truly June from season 3, I guess, fully going down the spiral.
Off the rails, yeah.
It's like she's high on the murder.
Yeah, she's.
Yeah. I actually Googled that at the risk of my future incarceration because I was like post-killing murder high.
Oh, no.
So if anyone around me dies, can you please defend me that it was podcast research? However, there really isn't that much information out there, so it wasn't worth it. But yeah,
okay.
It seems to be some sort of post-murder high, yeah.
Yeah, it certainly looks like that. And the song is really, I mean, I had it stuck in my head now for a whole day.
Yeah, same.
It's not a bad one because I'm always like, oh yeah, Fred is dead. And it's like, I'm reminiscing now too. But yeah, it turns so creepy.
I think it was Luke or Moira who asked her, whose blood is this?
Yeah.
She told Luke she was going to put Fred on the wall, and he asked,
Yeah.
"Whose blood is this?" Like,
In his defense, she was screaming, "I will kill you" at Mark Tuello. So there could be a question of whether it's Tuello's blood.
Even if your spouse says something like that and is really revenge full on everything, I wouldn't automatically
right.
go
Practically
there.
speaking, it would still be difficult. Yeah.
I would try to think, no, she hasn't done this, right? This is not possible.
Yeah, right.
It's also weird that she looks like kind of proud of the blood. She's just letting it stay on her body, and then she runs out, and I'm like, will nobody see that she's covered in blood? Is that really a good decision? Yeah.
Was it Holly's little baby
washcloth?
Oh.
And it was just like an elephant or a bear or something.
A bear, I think,
it was just thinking of her, yeah.
I feel like she changed her mind like for 5 seconds when she saw that, and then she snapped back out of it again.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought something was going to change, but it didn't really, so.
I was really impressed with the fingernails, the way they did her fingernails. I guess that was, I don't know if it was Zane or Burton or who, but it's like, I guess it's prosthetics. But how they made it look like her fingernails were like broken, the blood around them, and because then later she has to like put band-aids over her
Band-aid on it.
But it looks like they're coming off, kind of like a couple of them.
Oh wow.
It looks really real.
When she dips the finger in the water, right? I wondered if she has just a laceration or something, or if it's really her nail, but yeah.
And the next scene, we see the long-anticipated Nicholas Blaine's house. He gets out of a sedan, and his house is just like in a normal middle-class neighborhood, but a pair of handmaids are walking by on the sidewalk, lest we forget he's in Gilead. He's coming home after helping June last night, and he walks into the kitchen where we meet his wife, Rose. Side note, congratulations to everyone on the show for keeping the identity of his wife a secret for so long. That was like unbelievable to me. But her name is Carrie Cox, and she's beautiful, and she seems quite lovely and eager to serve him. In fact, I think Nick's first scene with Eden in his apartment and first scene with Rose are purposefully very similar, and they're telling him that serving him is their job. But his reaction to them is different. He's learned from Eden, and she jokes about making bad coffee. Then they answer another fascinating question. Does she know what he did last night? Yes, she does. Rose asks if he saw her, and if she did, what she felt she needed to do. And even adds, maybe June can find some peace now. I'll pray for her. When she called her the first time, I thought it was maybe a bit of a sign of jealousy, but then she used June's name, and I did not get a jealous vibe from her at all once the conversation was finished. In fact, she seems cool to me. Personally, at this stage, it seemed more a friendship thing to me. He did put his hand on hers, so I could be wrong, but honestly, I think it's probably just because he learned from Eden, and he will not make that mistake again. He's, a good man with a good heart. And when Eden would put her hand on his, he would pull away. So now he's returning the affection to Rose. What were your thoughts on Nick and his wife?
I thought he was just comforting her. I think they seem to both comfort each other. And it was interesting, with the Gilead speak. She also knows about June, so I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, that's confusing.
Yeah. It was
the combination of the Gilead speak
and
like the wife serves her husband with the having told June. They don't seem like that would mesh very well. So
yeah.
I really love that they have Nick returning home from killing Fred as like the second scene, because it's like it's just a nice pairing to have like June returning home from killing Fred and then Nick returning home from killing Fred. Like that was just, I like the way they paired those scenes up.
Yeah. I also honestly was like stunned because we've been wondering for so long like who his wife is. I don't know. For some reason having it be the second scene was
I know.
Like, whoa.
It was kind of jarring. Yeah.
I thought for sure they were gonna like keep holding out on us for like
half
the season or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. She'd be referenced but not seen.
I liked the detail of Nick driving his own car too. That was he doesn't have a driver in the house, which to me I was thinking like, okay, he probably is trying to, I mean, I don't know, it might just be because he's not important enough to have been assigned somebody, but I was also wondering if there was a bit of like trying to limit the number of people that are watching him all the time, and like he was a driver and an eye, so if he's not a driver then the person could be an eye, or you know what I'm saying? Like he's limiting.
Well, he did just come
household.
back from murdering Fred, so maybe
I mean that's true.
Let his driver have the day off.
That's a good point.
But he had the eyes people that he always brings everywhere with him for the kill. True. So I don't think it's that. Yeah, I loved it too.
Maybe he just missed driving.
Yeah,
I would miss driving.
Yeah, me too.
I were in Gilead.
And he doesn't seem to have a guardian too, because the house was not watched or anything.
The whole neighborhood looks very like un-Gilead, except for the handmaids. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any reference to Martha, though, they do, or she reference.
Yeah, they have a Martha, definitely. Yeah. When he sits down, I thought he was thinking of June and reminiscing their kiss. And he was like mulling a bit over it and touching his lips. And then he had to focus on his wife again. So it was like, for me, he did look amicable to her. But not that I really don't think he's in love, at least not here. I don't know what's going to happen, but he doesn't look in love because he's still hanging on June, and those two look like they're just, like Kimberly said, comforting each other. And I can't assume that he told her everything about June, because I don't know. Since she's such a believer, at least she looks like one or sounds like one. I think that she was kind of okay for June killing her abuser, because she probably thinks that the man should be nice to the handmaids and not rape them in between and stuff like that. Maybe Nick told her about that, and that made it more okay for her that June went off and killed him in the end. And he was a traitor for Gilead. Maybe she knew that too. So I think even though she's a full believer, I think there are a few things that could hint that she's okay with all of that.
Well,
I don't know.
June's a pretty famous figure in Gilead, though, right?
I know,
Angel's Flight. So she'd have to be okay with Angel's Flight, too, I think, in order to be okay with him.
That's so confusing.
Cooperating with her. So it is.
It is confusing, like, especially because we know from previous seasons that Nick doesn't trust people very easily at all.
That's
right.
So why does he trust her? And I'm hoping we get an answer to this question at some point this season. And I also want to know what he told her. What exactly did he tell her?
Right. Yeah. I'm hoping he didn't tell her everything, because I'm worried. I don't want him to put it out there in the world. It's enough that Serena knows.
I mean, he was telling Martha's last year. He's kind of shouting it from the rooftops lately.
I know, but
I guess he's
were
telling,
at
like,
least Mayday.
Yeah.
For me, one of the signs that made me think that he's probably not in love with her was that when he sat at the table, he had this sort of really exhausted and unhappy look to him. And of course, he was exhausted. He'd been up all night, but I think it was deeper than that. It was the same unhappiness that we saw in 409 when he was with June, and he was just so devastated that he couldn't be with her and their daughter.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't think that at this point there's anything to indicate that he's in love with his wife.
And we've seen him, 409 took place while they were married. So did the murder kiss, I don't think.
Yep.
I think it's hard to love somebody that much and also be in love with your new wife. So I'm not too worried about that.
No, it's June forever for Nick.
Yeah,
exactly.
Then we get the Serena yoga scene from the teaser way earlier than I expected. I figured it would be preparing to battle June later on or something, but Yvonne is graceful and beautiful as usual. I think maybe the point there was that she's feeling peaceful before she finds out. So she definitely doesn't know yet, which is exciting. And a SWAT team comes in a rush. They're here to move her for her own safety. She tries to refuse, and she's reminded she's a prisoner, and also remaining here is a danger to your child. Move. She asks someone if this is about her husband, and I like the lady funnily responding, "I don't know your husband, ma'am." But immediately thereafter, the senior director of ICC prisoner liaisons comes in and breaks the news. This morning, Canadian border agents recovered a body. We were able to make a positive identification. It's your husband. He's dead. And Serena gets in the elevator shocked, tears in her eyes, remembering them dancing in DC. And she appears actually sad. Interesting parallel to June in the elevator in season 4, having just gained a husband, but still looking miserable.
Did you hear "Do you understand me"? There was another one there.
Yeah.
No, I missed it.
From the officer to
really?
Serena. Yeah, she says, "Do you understand me?"
Like that he's dead?
Yeah, add it to the tally.
Oh my gosh. If we actually counted it, it would be so many more, I think, than we ever thought.
Mm-hmm.
I love that question.
I really like the way this was shot. Like when the woman is telling, I guess it's an ICC woman that's telling Serena, and they do like close up of her like lips saying it, and then it like tilts up to her eyes. It was just very well shot. Like kind of showing that like jarring, like taking it in pieces almost.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that's Nicola Daly, the new cinematographer this season. Obviously amazing. You could tell from the trailer already.
Yeah. I wanted to say something about the yoga. I didn't think she was looking that peaceful. And literally my first note was Serena is not waiting on Zoom anymore. I think she got worried because he wasn't coming on, right?
Yeah, you think she was worried doing yoga for that?
And she's like compressing herself from her anxieties. That something went wrong. And I love that they reminded her that she's still a prisoner, and she was like totally pushed back from her behavior in the end of season 4, where she was like commending everyone around and think she's calling the shots now again. And oh god,
she also asked for a boyfriend to Ella straight away.
Yes,
so
that
was
Then June walks into a diner and we see all, or at least most of the women from the woods having brunch together. Dolly Parton singing Getting Happy in the background as June chugs a glass of orange juice, and Vicky pushes a plate of pancakes towards her and they start digging in. Murder makes you quite hungry, it seems. Kimberly, do you want to say something about sausage finger?
Yeah, when I first watched it, I just noticed the sausage immediately. It just made me think of Fred's finger.
I saw it on the rewatch. Yeah, it was like,
yeah.
It looked like a severed finger. Fred is here.
It really did. And June finishes off with a milkshake as Vicky says, everything tastes better when Fred's dead. And they all start fantasizing about what they're going to do for their rapists. Everybody seems to be on some sort of murder high, which we discussed earlier. Some sort of adrenaline shock situation. However, June starts to maybe snap out of the shock a little when she sees her bloody fingerprints on the orange juice glass. She starts thinking about washing blood off the wall in Gilead. And then Danielle, played by Natasha Mumba, tells her she's got something for her. And they go outside to her trunk, and she's got a trunk full of guns and gives June a gun. I do question what June did with the gun Nick gave her last night. But anyway, also, when did this chick have time to get a trunk full of guns? But I digress. June takes this new handgun, and I got a little license plate analysis for you guys since you love them so much. The license plate says 319A, 3C, and section 319A. I just Googled 319A, obviously, and it came up with the Homeland Security Act, which concerns the naturalization of victims of domestic violence.
Oh, that was interesting. That's a good one.
Wow, yeah.
And then I looked up 3C, and it's a stretch, but in Urban Dictionary, it's a Norwegian slang for a legendary group or class.
Whoa.
So 3C is a stretch, but 319A seems pretty specifically relevant.
Yeah.
Anyway, Danielle directly asks if Nick can get her mistress to the border, and June says, I don't think so. And Danielle proposes going all the way back in themselves and getting her. June's coming to her senses a bit now when Danielle quotes, do unto others as they have done unto you. And June points out that's not what the Bible says.
Yeah, so it's do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Yeah. So that's the difference, I think, is what is they're making that distinction, like, because that is the golden rule, right? So it's not like hurt somebody because they've hurt you. It's treat someone nice so that they will treat you nice. It's in Matthew 7:12 and Luke 6:31. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So that's what she meant then. She was correcting the phrasing because it's phrased differently in the Bible.
Then she notices Emily's not here, and that seems to further snap her out of it. But everybody's getting angry with her. Fred was your monster, and we tore him apart for you. Now it's my turn. Then there's a Philly shout out, and June points out Vicky's not going to make it from Toronto to Philly to her mistress's house without getting caught. Like 7 hours, by the way. But even though Vicky seemed unsure at the beginning of this conversation, now she gets really mad and pulls a gun on June. She was here for you. Are you here for her? Are you here for any of us? And June walks up to her, not scared, and says, I don't know, Vicky. And then Vicky fires several shots in the air, and they all scatter as she yells at June, you made your choice in the woods. Now you're just a fucking coward. And the scene ends on a long shot of the abandoned Ferris wheel.
When she goes into the diner, I wondered about the blood again on every part of her, and then I realized that some of the others looked like dirty and everything. Not everybody, but yeah. And I wondered if the waitress just saw that was not blood but some red dirt or something like that, because once the blood dries, it's like not looking that much like blood anymore. If you
it also just kind of looked like she was scraped. You know what I'm saying? Like I thought maybe she thought she just had a scrape on her face.
Yeah.
They're also just getting a shitload of customers. So.
Oh yeah. But she was really weirded out because some of them just stood around, not sitting and not ordering, I think. I wondered about June because when she went off and ended up there, I thought that she would be, all happy again about the murder and everything. But she's switching in her looks between horrified, crazy happy, then happy, and all to that montage of them eating really gross, and the song "I'm Happy Again" or "I'm Again Happy," whatever.
I'm getting happy.
That was so genius, but so gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, she really got the others bloodthirsty, and I think that the others got angry at her for not helping them out now. Woke her a little bit up, right? Did anybody see that too?
Yeah, I think she's, like you said, she's kind of wavering between things right now. Like she's flashing between
this is good or bad,
or I'm happy that this has been done versus like, who am I just killed somebody. Like it's kind of going back and forth. I mean, I think it's kind of fair, the women wanting her to help with the revenge, but I also obviously get why she's like, I'm not going to keep killing people.
Well, yeah, Fred was easy to get. He was already basically there. They're expecting Nick to go like to different parts of Gilead to
different cities,
get their wives, commanders, pull them. Like it's I get that they're pissed, but it's a bit different.
It's very different. They had the opportunity, right? And they took it.
And you have to wonder like what exactly she told them about Nick, because like who do they think he is, or what do they think he can do? Or do you think they like met him before or after?
Right.
Like, I was interested in that.
I think one of them said, "Oh, he's an eye," or something.
Yeah.
But I think that maybe they met from the casual way they used his name.
I thought so too.
Maybe after.
Maybe that's when she gave him his gun back.
Maybe that solves everything about that.
Just going back to the finger to end this scene, I was just wondering, did they actually bit Fred's finger off? Is this what they're implying?
I don't think you can bite the bone off, but I think they sawed it off. One last note I had is that June seems to not want them to go off to Gilead and do all the revenge stuff, because she doesn't want them to leave their families alone, because June tells Danielle about, do you want to leave your husband and things like that. But then we see later on that June is basically trying to do the same, turning herself in and leaving her husband basically. So I wondered about that. Why is she giving the people this kind of pep talk, you don't want to leave your family, when she's basically doing the same?
Doing it. Yeah.
I don't think she really is thinking that linearly at this point either. Like,
for sure.
She's not thinking like, here's what's going to happen next for me. Like, it's just moment to moment right now.
Crazy.
Then Tuella's pulling up into Serena's new safe house while she's looking down from a glass window. She's got a lot of these evil queen shots throughout the show. But she's unsettled now and asks Tuella to see Fred's remains after accusing him of betraying them and taking his 30 pieces of silver, a reference to Judas betraying Christ. But Tuella tells her his 30 pieces of silver was 22 women condemned to die by your government. Good answer. And then he gives her the wedding ring and tells her about the finger. But it's the picture with Fred hanging and the writing on the wall, I think, that tells her it was June, because June wrote that in enormous letters in her room the second time she nearly escaped. And Tuella says there's no way it was June, but Serena tells him he doesn't know what she is, echoing what June told him about Serena. Both women are right, I would say.
I thought it was strange how they brought Serena into this house with gigantic glass windows if they think she's in danger.
I like, though, that she's in a glass house because of the throwing stones phrase.
Did Tuella say that they've received threats like this before?
I think he said, have you received threats like this before? Because at that point, he's pretending he doesn't know who did it. Like, do you have any idea who could have done this?
But I think
Do you guys think he's pretending?
I thought he didn't know. No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think he knows.
Yeah.
No, I don't think he knows.
But that's weird. He should know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I think it's probably, again, that we're thinking about it in terms of someone killing someone on a show, not in real life. Like imagining someone actually killing someone that you know and you've been talking to. It takes a bigger leap to accept that. So even if he might,
but he knows she arranged it, Fred is dead, and that she's friends with Nick and Lawrence. So I don't know.
Yeah,
he still probably should get there. But yes,
I wanted to say that I cheered so hard when he tells her about the ring and the finger, and then shows her the message, and she's like, slowly it's trickling in who has done it, and I'm like, ha. Yes, you got it.
I did wonder though, like when she asked which finger it was that significant in her understanding that it was June? I don't think so, because she would have known it just from the writing, right?
Yeah.
Her wondering which finger it was, and then them telling which finger it was, and it not being the same as hers.
Hers is the pinky.
Right.
To me, I was expecting her to want that, like to be looking for that answer, for it to be the same finger that was cut off on her. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe it's because it's the ring finger, the wedding finger, basically. So yeah, Tuella was really emotional about everything.
He often is around her.
Yeah, his voice is shaking.
Maybe he doesn't want to hurt Serena, but I mean, Fred wasn't really good for Serena anyway. So where's the problem? I'm like, why is he almost crying?
It probably doesn't look good that it happened on his watch, but it's weird.
He did drop and run, like I said in the last episode. He literally
he's worried that he shot his chances with Serena now because he brought Fred to Gilead.
Now June's knocking on Emily and Sylvia's door, and as she gives up and heads back to her car, Sylvia comes out calling after her. She tells June Emily went back to Gilead. She went back to fight to find out Lydia if she can, and Emily had called Sylvia this morning to tell her and refused to even talk to Oliver. June turns and says she'll find her and fix this, and Sylvia tells her to shut the fuck up. She's gone. I'm never going to see her again. Oliver's never going to see her again. And when June takes the blame for her leaving, Sylvia tells her she doesn't care. It doesn't matter whose fault it is. She got more time with her than she ever thought she would, and she's grateful for that. Sylvia's fucking awesome. What a cool human being. Especially when June asks if she'll tell her if she hears from her, and she honestly says no. Goodbye, June. And of course, we should mention here that Alexis Bledel wanted to leave the show for personal reasons, so this isn't necessarily the first choice of the writers for Emily's storyline, but it functions well to make June think twice about leaving her own family. And it leaves the door open for her to return, maybe, if things ever change.
It also gives Clea Duvall an amazing scene.
That was
oh my God, I love her so much.
Award-worthy scene. Yeah.
And then I was so sad because she's basically saying goodbye to the show here too. And I'm like, she just delivered that awesome speech. Oh yeah.
We will miss her.
Well, way to use her one scene though. Like,
amazing.
Crushed it.
I'm just sad that
Emily's gone.
Oh
yeah, same. I hope it really leaves the door open for her to come back next season, but
I hope so too. So about Sylvia, I was just thinking that I love how she's so grateful that she had all this time with Emily. And well, we're going to talk about it later in this episode, that maybe there are other ways of taking this thing that wouldn't have been as constructive or healthy. But I love it, and I love Sylvia, and I love how she's very put together. She's very strong.
I don't think many people would have been able to deal with that.
Yeah, but she's just like hit it out of the park since Emily got back, since day one of like giving her space and just being so kind and understanding with her. I just really love her role in the show, showing that.
And I'm amazed that on top of that, she's not angry at anybody. She's not searching for anyone's fault. She's just, as you said, Sarah, she's just grateful, and she's not hating. That the sentence, what good is hating, is just so beautiful, especially for this series. And for everything.
Sad for Oliver, though. Very sad for Oliver.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's
Oh God.
June gets back in the car and notices the bloody handprint on the window, and she barrels through the door of a bathroom in a gas station or something and looks at what I presume are a million missed calls from home before she starts hitting her phone on the wall, and then finally starts washing the blood off. She's finally emerging from her state of shock a little, starts scrubbing really hard at her skin. And then she's walking out to a lake, a la Serena in 303, takes her jacket off and walks right in. It's winter in Canada, by the way, and I don't just mean in the Handmaid's Tale version of Canada. For Lizzie, that must have been absolutely frigid. I would die. I do not like cold. But she's remembering Hannah, happy at first, and then crying as somebody's yelling, "Ma'am, are you okay?" in the background.
There's the radio chatter in the background when she talks to June and asks her if she's okay. So I thought she was already found by police, but probably not for killing someone, but for just going into the lake. I think somebody might have seen her, or the police had seen her and thought she would be killing herself. So I think that was what's happening, and it reminded me of Gilead a bit. So that's why I was focused on that when it came up.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
When she started to hit the walls and everything, it looked and it felt like, from the way it was shot, it felt really like a panic attack too. And I was really waiting for that to happen. So I was really glad that they went there and gave her that moment to really hit stuff and everything, because I think she needed that. But I got really worried when she stepped up into the lake. Don't think she went in much because she had really high boots, and I think she didn't go over that line.
She had her wellies on.
Wellies?
Wellies. She had her wellies
Her
on.
wellies.
Her
Are
wellies.
these rubber boots or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Knowing Emily just basically waltz back into Gilead, and I guess I think she feels really guilty.
Oh yeah.
About Emily and what happened last season with June pushing her, I guess, to feel like that. And now she's gone back to Gilead and she's left her family behind, and it's like, holy shit.
Totally. I think it pushed her a bit over the edge, that moment.
Yeah. So I was going to make the point that I think this is the scene where her pain over Hannah comes back at full force. And I think back to the scene in 410 where Lawrence tells June that whatever happens to Fred won't be enough. Well, it wasn't. She killed him.
Yeah.
But even killing him isn't enough because she flashes back to Luke and Hannah in the water. I think this is an old flashback that was shown like at least in season 1, was it? May have been in later seasons too, but definitely in season 1. So yeah, I definitely think that this is when the pain starts coming back and she starts realizing that it doesn't help that she murders anyone, even Fred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She still doesn't have Hannah back, so.
Yeah. When the flashback started and she looked for a second a bit peaceful, I thought that maybe, I realized that maybe she wanted to go to the water because she said that Hannah comes back to her when she is at the water or in the water or something like that, once to Serena. When Serena said that she misses Holly so much, and June told her that she needs to find something that she can link to her like she does with Hannah and the water. Because I remember when June was laying in the bathtub, she thought about Hannah and as well.
Yeah, she thought about the aquarium, the water from the aquarium.
Yeah, and now again,
Yeah, that's interesting. I really like how they show throughout the episode kind of the blood like slowly coming off her, like on the glass, on the window, and it's sort of mirroring like her coming out of that state, the high state. Each time a little bit of it comes off, it's like she's physically and mentally moving away from it.
Yeah.
It was interesting to me because it felt like she's sort of aware of that, because obviously when she doesn't want to wash it off in the bathroom, it's because she's not ready to give that up. Like she wants to stay in that feeling for longer.
If you say that like that, it's like she's covering herself in a protection from all the feelings that she's having, but she doesn't want to have. And as it comes off, she starts to feel the feelings that she doesn't want to have. So really.
And it's also kind of like the last physical existence of what she did too, right? Like once the blood is gone, then it's like Fred is totally gone and the whole thing is done.
Then June's in a waiting area and the shat comes up from the floor. So it looks like she's already kind of inside bars on the windows. When Luke walks up and kneels down next to her, and he's being very understanding. I gotta say that it felt a little jarring to me from Luke in season 4, maybe like a little bit of an unearned personality change, when there wasn't really a moment of this kind of understanding for her rage in season 4. But I'm sure he's desperate to get her to come home. But the degree of understanding and like the laughing and joking about it doesn't feel in character to me in the scene. But anyway, she tells him Emily went back to Gilead, and Luke calls that insane. June says it is, but she gets it. She feels Gilead pulling, don't you? And even though I don't think he understands at all, he says, yeah, he feels Hannah, and I felt you so much that I couldn't breathe, but I got you back now. Let's go. And when June says, you don't want me around Nicole, he tells her she did nothing wrong. He got what he deserved. And she's like, well, you didn't see what I did. You don't understand. And then she tells him she loved it. And I really love the way Lindsay delivers that line. But he's like, you don't think I understand that? And then the police come out to collect her, and he's totally shocked when she says, I need to do something. And he's like, what's going on? I mean, this is a police station, Luke, so I think you might have seen this coming. But I do agree with him that it doesn't make much sense for her to do this. If they weren't going to jail her rapist, I can't see how she'd give a fuck about confessing to her own crime. But it makes a little more sense when she says, I can't wait for the boots on the stairs, because how many times has she done that? So that was a great line. And even the officer asked her once if she's sure she doesn't want to just go home, but she interrupts him with, I killed Commander Waterford and I'll swear to it. Why does everyone call him Commander? That bothers me a little, but Oh, and then this bothers me a lot. Luke offering to take Holly to Hawaii with her. Not cool. That was like a knife in the heart of Nick and June that we could have done without.
Yeah.
It's Nick and June's fantasy, sir. Find your own fantasy. But I do understand Luke's despair, yelling, "Fuck you, don't do this," after her as the officers lead her away.
I found it interesting that she said to him that she's ruining his life. And he's saying to her, "You are my life. You're Nicole's life." And he's really desperately trying to anchor her with him and her daughter here. And I have a little bit of an issue with that because it's like pushy again.
I agree with what you're saying. And I think like some of the lines that he's saying, for instance, when he counters, when she says, "You don't understand," and he's like, "Don't tell me I don't understand." That's in the scene, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that plus the line where he's like, "I got you back now." It's again kind of showing a little bit of like denial of what's happened. Like, I think it's easier for him to just be like, no, I'm just going to focus on the fact that you're here. I'm not going to think about the details of what you did. And like saying, "I got you back now." Obviously he's referring to a June that doesn't exist anymore. So it's still kind of like, yeah.
I also, he's just desperate. Like,
he's
desperate for her
Definitely.
to stay. Like, even before, when she drove off in the car, like, who knows if she's coming back after that?
Right.
She just killed Fred. And she's gone to say basically what looked like saying bye to Holly. So, I mean, he's just saying, I think partly what she wants to hear, and also Emily's just fucked off back to Gilead, so he doesn't want to lose her again, so he's saying everything that he can to basically persuade her to stay and not turn herself into jail where he's gonna lose her again. So
definitely, yeah.
But I feel like he's thinking about what he needs and what he wants rather than what she needs and what she wants. And at this stage, what she needed was to, confess to her crime and be punished for what she did. And I'm sure that it is at least partly brought on by all the guilt she carries around her for basically everything, including Emily. And as you said, she just found out that Emily left back to Gilead. So obviously it's not going to be easy for her to accept all of this and carry the guilt, and she wanted to get rid of the guilt this way, but this was what she needed. And I was kind of hoping that he'd be able to be a little bit more understanding about that, even if he was totally panicked that she was leaving him again.
Yeah.
For me, it's like I'm really torn about everything here because I'm like, I understand him totally. I wouldn't want my spouse to be off in jail as well, especially after having her not around for years and years, and just getting her back. But the thing is that June is not doing well at all, and we have seen it in the last season. And keeping her at that state, I mean, at least she has to find somebody who she really can trust and go through everything, and she doesn't really seem to have that. And it's like keeping her there but not having her go through everything she has survived is like crazy, because she will never be happy or coming down or anything. I mean, even if they would get Hannah back at some point, I don't think she would be ever able to be fully herself again if she doesn't get to clear her head about this. And this is not the way. Just keep her there, because what else? Yeah.
Just like trying to think what you would do if it was you. I feel like I would try pretty desperately to get them not to.
Yeah, it's really difficult.
Yeah, there's no fucking way. I would never want someone, especially her state of mind as well. She's not good. She's not well.
She's not thinking.
And it just kind of like, it proves that he doesn't understand. And of course he doesn't. Like, of course he doesn't understand like what she wants or needs in that moment, because yeah, like you're saying, all of us would probably try to do the same thing, like stop the person, because we're like, why? It's weird to even think like, why would you want to go to jail for doing something that needed to be done, for like doing this to someone who deserved it? Like, it's hard to even think about it. So I feel like the main thing is that there needs to be a moment where Luke goes, I really don't understand, and like accept the fact that he doesn't understand, because I think things would be easier for him then if he just said like, I don't get this. so explain it to me, you know,
right?
Rather than pretending like he understands and getting it wrong.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of that.
And like, if he understood that she feels all this guilt and she needs to let it out somehow, then maybe he could have suggested that, hey, June, let's go home and we'll get you some help. We'll get you a mental health professional. You can talk to someone about this and we'll figure it out from there. Like, that to me would have been a better solution than this.
He's just very consistently in character. He always tries to pretend everything's fine. So I think that that's something that sometimes we struggle with, because things aren't ever fine in this world. But
yeah, and that's his coping mechanism that he has there. So that's the way he does it.
Yep. So then June, without a lawyer, proceeds to tell them everything except for the involvement of the others. I followed Commander Waterford to the forest by myself. I was alone when I chased him. He ran, tried to escape, but I caught him. I hit him and kicked him and bit him. When he was dead, I left him in the forest. The officer asked if she meant to inflict harm on him. Yes, ma'am, as much as possible. When she asks why, she tells her he raped me and kept me prisoner. He was a monster and he deserves to die. And the officer tells her, well, in our society, we generally leave these things up to people like me, meaning the law. And June says, I understand that. That's why I came here. I came myself. And then the woman drops the most amazing freedom bomb. These events did not occur in Canada. It does not concern the crown. And June's shocked. She repeats, I killed him. And the lady just says, be that as it may, thank you for coming in. Have a good night. And June's completely shocked, says there can't be no punishment. To which the woman responds, that's between her and her deity of choice. And she's free to go. And she can't believe it. And then another woman comes in and says, there's also the finger. LOL. I can't even, this was so funny to me. I laughed so much. They're going to charge her $88 for transporting a biological sample illegally. Killing Fred cost her $88 plus the cost of a whistle. That is amazing. I love that writing. It's so good. And then I laughed again when she realizes, I don't think I have $88 on me. That's okay. You can pay online. Hysterical. Also, the number 88 symbolizes fortune and good luck in the Chinese culture. Although I also read it means Heil Hitler in the white supremacist code, whatever the fuck that is. So I'm going to go with the Chinese interpretation and a fuck you to the white supremacists of the world.
It's just a warning. I would not use 88 anywhere around Germany or Austria.
Oh, so you knew that?
Oh, yeah.
Wow,
88 is like if you have a car license plate with 88, you either are purposely telling people that you are, well, a Nazi,
right?
Or you had a shitty
luck. You got a bad license plate.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But I think they even try to purposefully not do things like that anywhere. And we have a lot of Nazi people and people that celebrate Hitler's birthday and everything. And there's a flower that symbolizes him. It's a blue kind of flower. And on his birthday, the Nazi people tend to wear this and order his favorite
Seriously?
food.
Like you see
yeah,
them?
And there's some restaurants that are assholes, basically. The
fuck?
They have his favorite food on
depressing.
his birthday at a low rate. So things like that. Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh my god.
Holy fuck. Seriously?
Yeah, it's not that common, but it's happening, and it's every year we have to talk about it because people put the pictures on on the internet when they see stuff like that. And 88 is a big thing too. So,
wow.
Yeah. There's just a few small groups, but it's just like people like me, we if we hear this, it's like enraging, and it's like a wave every year with enraged people that talk about that. So I see it every year.
I'm sorry. That's horrible. How fucking depressing is this world?
Very.
Yeah.
The only thing I had on this scene, apart from obviously the fine, was that, do you think that June wanted to turn herself in so badly because Fred didn't get the justice that she thinks and he should have gotten?
That part confuses me so much because I would not, that would be the reason I wouldn't turn myself in, you know? Mm-hmm. If you weren't going to punish him for raping me for years, then why do I care? I'm not going to care about serving a sentence for killing him. I was just doing what you didn't handle. So I don't get that. I don't know.
I think she's doing this because the guilt that she's carrying around ever since, I think it started in season 2, probably. Because with Omar and his wife. And then Hannah's mother, and she blames herself of Matthew too. Mm-hmm. and then all the people that went down for Mayday, for the Angels flight. And now it's Emily, basically, because, you know, going back to Gilead is like, you will die probably. So maybe she thinks that she will be dying too because of her.
Yeah, I think that when she says it's my fault to Sylvia, that's definitely referencing all that you just said. Because the first time that she was told that was with Omar, when Lydia drilled that into her, that it's your fault, it's your fault. So like, yeah, I think that she's trying to equalize the feeling of guilt by making this be her punishment, her consequences for it, so that she's maybe thinking that will erase the guilt.
Mm-hmm. If this is about Fred 100% completely, it doesn't at least fully make sense to me. But if this is about all the other people that she feels that her actions have killed or hurt, then it makes more sense.
I think that is what it is. Yeah. I think it's everything just
piling up.
Yeah, and it just hit her back again when she came out of the murder high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I realized I missed some people, and I have to say them because it's like important. Alma and Brianna and Beth and Sienna. So I missed those. And the unnamed handmaids.
Probably more.
Yeah, I know, but those were the important ones for us. Right.
Yeah, and I think she's not of sound mind, like we said, and she's impulsive, and maybe this isn't the decision she would have made if she thought through it, but it was what she felt like doing at the time.
Yeah, although later she does say, I thought I would be in jail. So I don't know if she's saying, like, she says that to Moira. I don't know if she means I thought that when I went to the police station, or if she had thought about it before. Yeah. But I guess the woman that she's speaking to, I don't know what her title is, the officer that she's speaking to.
You never see her face, right? I kind of like how they shot it. You never see
it just woman, like holds on June the whole time, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
When she says you're free to go, the way that she says that, it just seemed like it really hit June hard. Like, just saying you're free to go, it was just very overwhelming. It looked like she was going to cry, and she was like shaking like as soon as she said that. So I feel like it's almost just like somebody just dropped her into like a black hole by saying that. Like, she doesn't know what to do now.
Yeah, and it was such a insane scene, because on the one hand you have June starting to get all upset and shaky about the fact that she can't do at least this part that she wants to do. She wanted to turn herself in, and she's denied even that. And then you have the $88 moment where it was like, seriously? And I started to cackle a bit. And then she goes outside, and the way she says it to Luke, I started to laugh because it was so kind of comical in the worst way.
Funny.
Yeah, it was, oh my God.
Have to pay a fine for killing him, you know? Like, great writing, great delivery too. Like, I loved it. I laughed, at least 3 times during this $88 conversation. And so just like that, June walks out of the police station free, and Luke's waiting for her, pulls her into an embrace. And I wrote, we squeeze a little more hilarity out of the $88 when she tells him, I have to pay a fine. Then Serena's at the morgue, about to see firsthand what $88 gets you in Canada. She's in the room alone with Fred's corpse, remembering the tango scene, when Tuello comes in, apologizes for her loss, and Serena asks to formally petition to the Canadian government to reinstate capital punishment, considering that woman's heinous acts. And now Tuello gets to tell her they're not going to do shit. No man's land and all. June didn't break any laws. He encourages her to focus on her future with her son, and she gets pissed. Are you going to protect me? Do you know what she's capable of? And pulls the cloth off Fred's body. Don't you dare tell me that you can protect me from here. And we see Fred's mangled body. There was a fun interview earlier when they were filming with Lizzie, where she discussed the degree of mangling of Fred's penis with our bestie Zane Nisley. She did not want it to look like it had been bitten.
It's funny how Tuello is even cock blocked by Fred now that he's laying dead on the table next to him.
Oh my God.
He's like, seriously, can you please just forget about Fred? Please. And he's like, for fuck's sake. I really loved when Serena was saying that she wanted Canada to rethink their position on capital punishment. I just thought that was really hilarious.
It was funny. Because I thought she was going to say something serious, like, I don't know what, but I didn't expect.
Well, I think she thought she was serious, but really she is just crazy.
And I had one question about the flashback Serena had, the tango scene. So I was wondering why she's remembering tango in particular. Is this like her only positive memory of Fred?
I think that's her first positive memory since Gilead started to take her rights away and stuff like that, because they were looking in love and happy together before that happened. And then everything went to shit for her, and she despised everything and him, and they kind of rekindled their relationship a bit there. Maybe that's the reason. That's the only thing I came up with. Because I mean, I would have thought that she remembers stuff from before too, but I have to highlight Yvonne's acting here. I think we all said that just the scene was amazing. The way she screams at him and tears up, and amazing.
When we saw it in the trailer, I was like, I'm really excited to see that scene.
Yeah, me too. And then I didn't expect her to really unveil Fred.
No.
I was like, holy shit, what did they do to him? Because his whole rib cage was open on the right side.
Mm-hmm.
Flesh torn apart, and oh my god, how do you do that with your bare hands? I don't want to know, honestly, but
I wonder how much it costs, like bringing Zayn in to make this Fred body. Like, how much does a body like that cost? I would love to know.
What an amazing job he did. Shout out.
I know.
Oh yeah, amazing.
He is amazing. That's incredible. Then they walk out of the morgue, and there's already a fucking vigil of supporters there for Serena. How did they know she was even there, and why the fuck would they care? But it's probably accurate in this insane world of ours. And they didn't even sound crazy. They sounded like sweet and normal talking to her. Ick. And Tuello knocks on the car door they're walking out to and tells her she's going back to the detention. So I think empowered by the supporters and in the face of the disrespect of her detention, she decides she's taking Fred home to bury him in the nation that he founded. Tuello says he can't imagine that would be possible. And she asks again, my husband was murdered and I'm asking to bury him. Any civilized country would have the decency to allow it. So Tuello says he'll make some calls.
I just thought it was funny that Serena, she was really down and out about Fred. She probably wasn't even thinking about a funeral. And then all of a sudden she's got these supporters, and now she wants to put on this big spectacle. She's just putting on a show like she does. She's feeling happy now. Oh, I've got some supporters.
Yeah, oh my God.
Yeah, it's just a performance. I agree. She wasn't thinking about it at all. And then she's like, oh, I can turn this into something.
Yeah, and Tuello thinks that it won't happen, that she gets to get Fred back to Gilead and everything. And then, of course, one eyelash whip of her, and he's like, okay, I try.
Yeah.
June and Luke get back home, and he says he needs a drink. You want a drink? Yeah, sure. Breaking out the good red wine for this. And Moira asks how she's doing. Luke says, yeah, she's fine. And Moira objects. No, she isn't. Gilead was going to kill him. She just wanted to do it herself. And Luke says, she's here. I'm taking the win. We're celebrating. When Moira brings her the wine, June asks if she heard about Emily. And this is when we hear the trailer line. They're not going to be looking for somebody going back into Gilead. Who would do that? She's thinking about her desire to. And Moira says it happens more than you think. People are breakable. Moira's going to go give Nicole a bath. And when June offers to do it, she tells her she doesn't feel comfortable with her taking care of Nicole. It scares her. June nods, says, okay, me too. And Moira clarifies, you scare me. And June agrees with that too. She says, I thought I'd be in jail. And Moira just says, but you're not. So June's having a hard time figuring out what to do next. But she tells Moira, I love you. And Moira hesitates, but thankfully she says it back.
I love that moment between them, because Moira, I mean, you see it immediately when they get him. Luke is immediately in denial again. She's fine. I mean, of course she isn't. Even if you don't see her breaking again and again, you can assume she's fine. She just wanted to turn herself in. But Moira immediately goes to the ground of all this and says, no, she can't be fine. And then she talks to June. And I found that whole thing so wholesome, because she needed that talk. June needed the talk. And that it ended on an I love you between those best friends. I think they haven't said it in a long while, right? I really love that they finally get a bit more to the ground of that and are honest with each other. And yeah,
I really love June's reaction to what Moira is saying too.
Yeah,
but she's willing to hear that from Moira, and
yes,
kind of agrees. And it's not like she's not defensive and upset that Moira would say that about her fears with June and Nicole together. She's hearing it and taking it on.
Yeah,
exactly. I was just going to add that aside from the scene with June and Sil, the parts with June and Moira in this episode are my favorite parts of the episode entirely.
Oh yeah,
she's definitely able to be emotionally vulnerable and open with Moira in these scenes, which is really nice to see, because we haven't seen June be able to be like that with people much.
Yeah.
And they're both being honest with each other.
Exactly. That's what I wanted to say. It's like, this is the only people in Canada we have seen to be honest with at the moment. Oh no, with Emily too, right? But Emily's gone now, so I'm happy Moira's still having her back here.
I personally don't think Luke thinks June's fine at all. I think he's just pretending that he feels that way.
He probably is, yeah.
Agree.
I think he's just scared again to lose her, say something wrong, say he actually feels that she's not okay for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, I think if he accepts that she's not, then he has to accept what she did completely.
And I was just wondering that with Luke, if she had an objectively good reason to move out of the house and maybe live on her own, I don't know, maybe Nick would come to Canada at some point and she would be like, oh, I need to think about this. I need to be on my own for a while. Would Luke let her do that? Although that's a really good reason for her to be independent for a while, or it would be.
I honestly don't really think that he would, because he's so scared that he would lose her completely, that she would never come back to him, because he already thinks that, and he already voiced that fear so many times in the last 2 seasons. He fears that she will never truly come back to him. So he's just clinging to her so badly. And I get it kind of, but it's the wrong way to do it. It's just not helping.
I think it would really push her away, how hard he's clinging personally. But we shall see.
I agree with that.
Then there's a knock at the door, a little dose of PTSD for June, and she goes outside to Tuello. Funny note on the house, from the outside, it looks like all the lights are on inside, but inside it looks like they forgot to pay their power bill. June asks Tuello if he's there to arrest her, and he says, nope, no charges being brought. I imagine that's good news. And she echoes, I imagine, because she doesn't know what to do with it at the moment. And then she apologizes for playing him, and he replies, all right, which I found funny, but he just played her, so it's all good. And then June asks what she really wants to know. What did she say when she found out? And he says she was scared. June responds, hopefully, scared of me? Yes, scared is very dangerous. And June tells him that Serena's always dangerous. Tuello continues that she scared Gilead too, and they likely won't let a handmaid killing her commander go. And then Tuello shocks me when on his way out, he said, I just came to say, well done. You did something terrible that needed to be done. I understand what that costs. May he rot in hell. And he parts with, don't let the bastards grind you down. Good scene, Tuello. I don't think I'm on the Tuello train yet, but I'm really, really glad that you congratulated her.
I was cheering so hard for that moment. I was like, what?
You're shocked, right? Like me.
Yeah.
I love it too, but it's also a bit jarring because like earlier in the episode, he was like crying when he was talking to Serena about Fred being dead. And now he's telling June, you go, June, you did great. I'm so glad he's dead.
Yeah, I guess that's why we're so surprised. I was very shocked when he said that. I did not think that's how he was going to finish their little visit.
He might have been sad because he was delivering bad news to like his girlfriend, so he didn't really want to upset her.
But maybe he was sad that she was sad. Maybe he was like,
yeah, maybe.
Why does she care about him?
I really liked Tuello this episode. Last season I was a bit on and off with him. Like he did a lot of things that pissed me off, but this episode I really did enjoy him, and I really loved this scene. It was probably one of my favorite scenes of the whole episode.
I think Tuello, like it's interesting to me showing his character stuck in a similar situation as a lot of people in the show are, where he's having to play between what's best for the government and the politics versus the actual women that he's speaking to and the people that he's, forming some kind of relationship with, like with June. So like, obviously he is choosing between maybe what's personally right for them and what his obligations are. And I think that's a really interesting thing to like have in here too, because and this scene in particular really shows how he actually feels. Like he's saying like, I'm glad that you did this, even though I couldn't help you before through the official channels,
Yeah. I also really loved when June said she was sorry that she played him, and he just says, all right.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Okay.
I love that it proved that he really didn't know, because it was like in the beginning I was thinking about, did he lie to Serena?
Is he pretending? Yeah, I thought that too. Tuello saying don't let the bastards grind you down was pretty great.
Oh, that was amazing. Yeah.
Like just also the fact that either he speaks Latin or or he like went and looked it up, which I thought I liked the thought of him looking up what it meant, and then kind of I was just imagining him finding out and being like, yeah, and then wanting to say it to her. I like that.
I liked that too.
I also thought when Tuello said, I'm sure you want to get back to your family, the June kind of looked a little funny when she said, yeah. It's like she was a bit unsure, I think, when she thought about it.
Yeah, she's torn about everything.
Well, and Moira's just told her she can't be a mom at the moment.
So. Yeah, she doesn't want her to be alone with Holly. So,
yeah. Then she goes up to Nicole crying in the bath, and Luke encourages her to come in and take care of her. He trusts her, which is nice because, of course, she's not going to hurt her daughter just because she hurt her rapist. And June's super sweet with Holly, whispering she doesn't have to have a bath if she doesn't want to. She'll bathe her in kisses instead, and they cuddle. And Holly just rests on her shoulder, content. June tells Moira and Luke that she's got her, and they leave. Oh my God, they're so cute together. This baby and Lizzie are really great together. And the baby is gorgeous. Or babies, I guess. Probably they use twins. But I really just can't get enough of Lizzie and Holly together in this episode. And the episode closes with tears running out of Lizzie's eyes. Water, water, water. A lot of water.
That was such an wholesome moment. I love that they left her alone with her because I think she really needed that. And especially after Moira telling her that she can't be alone with her. And that probably ate her up. I think this was the first moment she really let out a bit of her true feelings, just sitting there cuddling with the one person that doesn't judge her in the moment in the room and in the whole of Canada, probably.
She's get a dog.
Yeah, maybe, but she has Holly, so
or a cat. Lizzie likes cats, so she probably likes cat.
Maybe.
I like how it ended, like the last episode ended with her, bloody,
cuddling
her, and then this one ends with them clean. And
Marigold also mentioned the book ends with the bathroom too. I thought that was interesting how this episode starts and ends in the bathroom.
Yeah, I like that.
Right.
Good note.
Yeah. June gets told so much what she is supposed to do.
Yeah.
Now too, everywhere in Gilead and in Canada.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want her daughter to have any of that. She just wants to give her the freedom to decide.
Yeah, that's exactly how I read that, was that she was trying to like make that, like ingrain that in her. Like you don't have to do anything you don't want to. Like you're making your own choices.
That moment was so sweet with I will shower you with kisses, bathe you with kisses.
I loved it so much.
The way Moira and June both were with the baby, they're together, kind of reminded me of how they were with Hannah too. Like, I don't know.
Nice to see.
Mm-hmm.
I wondered about the fact that this is not Liz's really real baby, how much time she spent with her before that, because there was a real trust, it seemed, because as soon as the baby, because she was really crying and she got her out and immediately she stopped and cuddled up to her, and that was amazing.
It's a really interesting question if they spend a lot of time together.
Yeah, they must have bonds off screen. That's cute.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's a wrap on our first episode of season 5. This was fun, you guys. Our second episode is actually up right now also because we recorded them together. So go find that, and then next week we will see you to discuss episode 3 on Wednesday. Thanks for listening. Bye. 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 Okay, that was a good one. That was a good one.
Wait, what does it say again?
It's literally dream.
All I have to do is dream. Whenever I want, blah, 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 blah.
All right, it's good. It's a good sample. You can stop now.